Hey guys, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I am a full-time kindergarten teacher who also flips furniture on the side in order to earn a profit that I put straight toward my student loan debt. Today, I'm gonna be flipping this beautiful brown dresser. It is in actually really great shape. But you know me, I love to put some paint on some furniture, so that is what we're gonna do today. I actually found this dresser today at the ReStore, the Habitat for Humanity ReStore here in Omaha. And so this one was listed at $75. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it is a great cause. They put a lot of their all of their proceeds toward building Habitat for Humanity homes. Can't go wrong on supporting an awesome cause. Let's get to cleaning. All right, I did it again. I forgot. I gotta take the hardware off first, so then we'll get to cleaning. But I'm gonna keep all my hardware in a container so that way I don't lose it. And this hardware is actually really nice hardware. These are kind of fun, and I didn't have to pay any extra for them, so why not? These will also match perfectly for the look that I am going on this dresser. Okay, so we'll set this hardware aside and then I'll get to cleaning, but that way I can come back and put these back onto the dresser at the very end. I got this new cleaner. It's called Super Clean, so I'm excited to see how well it does with cleaning my furniture pieces. I'll link it down below in the description. Let's test it out. It's a degreaser, so that's definitely what you want to look for in your cleaners. Spray it all over. I'm gonna grab my gloves too. Those on, just to be a little extra cautious. And I've got my double bucket down here, and one side I use for the actual cleaning, and then I'll go back with the second side and do a complete rinse over the whole piece as well to get all of the leftover dirt and dust, but also any cleaning residue. And now we'll rinse with the other side, wiping away all of the chemicals and then getting ready to prime. Now I'm gonna prime. Okay, so we're gonna get to priming, and I'm gonna be using the Kiehl's oil-based primer, and this is a fast-drying primer, but it's also gonna be able to block all of the stains. Now, this is real wood, and I can tell because if you actually come back around here, I've gotten some questions about this, but you can tell if it's veneer or real wood by just looking at the back. And right here is a little bit tricky to see. If you come over here in the middle, you can see that this is real solid wood. There's no layer on the top, and then this is plywood underneath. You'll usually see a layer. No, this is real solid wood. So I know that it will possibly bleed through that stain color because I'm going to be doing a lighter color. So I really want that primer to block those stains. Depending on the coverage, I may even do 2 coats, we'll see. And I'm not gonna be sanding today because the primer will also help my paint adhere to the piece. So we're gonna skip that step. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing furniture flipping. So by no means is my way the only way or the best way or anything like that. So just figure out what works best for you, and this is what works best for me. I am going to be using a roller, so I covered my rolling pan with foil so that it's easier cleanup. It also has a pretty strong odor, so definitely want to have a well-ventilated area. So one of my supporters found my Amazon wish list and got me these painter's pyramids. And this just basically allows you to elevate your piece of furniture to put it up and allow you to not get paint over on the ground. And so that you can just get into all the corners. So I'm gonna try them out today. I'm gonna have Neiman help me lift this up. Sweet. Nice and stable, and it's a couple inches off the ground, so that should give me plenty of room to get my roller down in there. So thank you for that donation. This is what I'm talking about. You guys are always supporting me in so many different ways. The primer is all finished up, and like I said, it is fast drying. The dresser is actually already dry, so we'll be getting to paint it in no time. So they got me at the ReStore. They had paint, they had furniture paint. And so I have not tried this out yet, but I'm gonna be using Jolie paint in the color Farmhouse Beige. I've seen some other YouTubers use it. Christina over at Pretty Distressed uses it quite often, and she says awesome things about it. So I'm excited to try it out. It is actually not a chalk paint, but it is a furniture paint. So I am excited. So It's pretty watery now. We'll need to mix that up for sure. It had been sitting there for a while. So this color, they actually had some color samples out, and so I was able to see what it would look like. And this color is kind of like a, well, it's beige, but it's like a creamy white. And so I'm gonna actually do a farmhouse look with this dresser. And I'm excited to do a farmhouse look not with white paint, and I want to see how it'll turn out. And then I also got some of their top coat wax. I got clear and brown, so I'll be able to kind of create that farmhouse distressed look with the wax as well as with distressing it. I'll show you guys what I mean once I'm done painting. I also picked up their brush. I'm a sucker, you guys. I love new brushes, I love new paint, and I also really enjoy showing you guys what I think of the paint. That way I can kind of test it out and then share my experiences with it. And if I like it, then maybe you will too. So yes, the cost on this flip is gonna be a little bit pricier than my normal flips. I'm loving this paint, and I am about to do the drawers. This paint goes on so easily, and this is making this project super quick, so let's get on to the drawers. All right, drawers are all painted as well. So the first coat's gotta dry off here, just on some random tape. First coat's gotta dry, and then we'll get on to coat number 2. So originally I was just going to leave the kind of cracks and holes that I kind of saw in the fronts of the drawers because I thought it was gonna look okay because of the look I was going for. It was kind of that farmhouse, distressed look, a little bit of wear and tear, no big deal. But after putting the first coat of paint on it, I'm not really sold on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill those before I do coat number 2. So I'm using Dixie Mud from Dixie Belle. This is just the easiest, most soft wood filler, so it'll go into the holes and the cracks really nicely. It's easy to work with, smooth, all of the above. And then I'll just put a little bit in each spot, and then I'll go back with a sander once it dries and then sand it back to make it even before I do coat number 2. All right, so we'll let that dry just for a little bit, and it's a really thin coat, so it shouldn't take too long, but then we'll get to coat number 2. Okay, I am gonna take my 150 grit sandpaper that I just put around an old sanding block. So you don't have to buy those sanding blocks every single time. Just grab some new paper and then use the sanding block. That helps you cut down on costs as well. I actually got this specific sandpaper from the Dollar Tree. It came in like a huge pack, so check theirs out too. Anyway, I'm gonna sand down, especially on the areas where I filled in the gaps, but I'm also just gonna give a light sand over the whole entire piece before I get on to coat number 2. So the reason I'm doing the scuff sand over the whole thing before I put the second coat on is just to try and minimize those brush strokes, and then any imperfections that I had, any little drips or things like that, I can get that out with my sandpaper. I'm not pushing hard because I don't want the paint to come off. I'm just smoothing it out a little bit. Okay, let's hit the drawers. So now I am just gonna wipe back all the dust off of the drawers and the dresser because we don't want the dust to become a part of our paint when we do the second coat. Dust that off with a chip brush. And then I'm going to wipe back everything with my microfiber cloth. It is a beautiful day out here. The wind is kind of extreme at some times, but overall this day is turning out to be amazing. Can't wait for the summer to come so I can be outside more and more. Whew. It's beautiful. Do you guys like flipping inside or outside? Let me know down in the comments. I prefer a mixture of both, to be honest. Okay, coat number 2, yay! My favorite part, painting. So yes, this Jolie paint had a pretty price tag on it, $40 for a can, but like I keep telling you guys, the higher the price, generally the better quality the paint is. So I'm not even gonna be using this full can. I'm probably not even gonna be using half of this can to cover this entire dresser. So my cost for this specific project is not $40. It is way less than that because I'm not using the full can. But we'll do the numbers at the end, but I just wanna remind you constantly that I know it may seem like a high investment and there are other paints and things like that, but the better quality paints are just gonna cost more. So for my brush, like I always do before the second coat, I just keep it in a plastic baggie, keep it all wet, and so that way it doesn't dry out, and then I can use it for the second coat. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, all of the paint has to dry now, but both coats are on. I'm not gonna need to do a third coat. And so once this dries, we get to put the wax on. I am gonna put the drawers in the dresser so that I can have a full look of the whole thing before I decide if I want to distress or not. Because originally I was gonna do the farmhouse distressed look, but then this paint is so pretty that I just don't know if I want to yet, but I think it still might lend itself to be distressed. So let's check it out. Also, the paint pyramids, I love those. Maybe I should take them off the paint pyramids.
Me, I'm gonna save the day again.
Okay, this time you were actually right here.
I was right there last time. Oh, no.
Okay, looking good. Ah, I think, I can't decide. I think I'm gonna go for it and do some light distressing around the natural areas. Give it a little bit more character, and then we'll put the wax on. Let's wax. So for the top coat, I'm gonna be using the finishing wax by Jolie as well. With wax, you're just gonna use a wax brush. And so these are pretty cheap on Amazon, or you can find them at Walmart for cheap. But remember, the cheaper that you go, the more like bristles you're gonna have come out and things like that. So I've got mine from Dixie Belle, and Jolie actually has some too. I just knew that I had one from Dixie Belle, so I didn't wanna get another wax brush since I don't use wax too often. But anyway, natural bristle brush for wax. So I'm just gonna start and get some on my brush and then apply it. You can kind of go in like a circular motion. You're kind of just shoving it into the creases of the brush strokes, but also just covering the whole entire piece. Once you're finished, you'll go back with a lint-free cloth and then you'll wipe away all the excess. This can also be applied with a lint-free cloth if you don't have a wax brush. It's going on pretty smooth. I'm liking it. A lot of you have asked about cure times for top coats. So like wax, top coats, things like that. They need to cure, which means they need to set until you sit things on top of them, because it will chip away at the paint. It's not fully dry basically. And so for this wax, it says cure for 5 to 21 days. So whenever the person buys it, I always tell them that. I say, 2 weeks, wait to put anything on top for best results, because you want your customer to know that information, and it's best to disclose that so that they're not getting it home, setting a whole bunch of things on it, and then the next week they take it off and it peels off or something. I don't think that would ever happen, but just let them know. But I don't let it deter me from posting right away, because again, I can tell them. I'm not gonna hold this for 3 weeks before it cures to then list. I got the whole dresser waxed, so I'm gonna take my lint-free cloth and then go over it and just buff it out. And on the container, it says that you can wait 24 hours to do this for a more sheen look, but I wanna do the matte look, so I'm just gonna do this immediately because the paint was matte finish, which is no gloss, no sheen to it, and that's how I wanna keep it. All right, so next I'm gonna wax the drawers. Okay, so finished up with the top coat wax on the drawers. So I'm just gonna wipe that back just like I did on the base of the dresser. Then we'll be able to put these babies in and put on the hardware. Alrighty, the top coat is all finished up. So my next step is to put the drawers back in, but it's getting a little bit dark out here and staging and photos are always best in the daylight. So I'm gonna wait to put these drawers in and the hardware back on until tomorrow. That is our next step. We're back, it's daylight out, so we are gonna attach the hardware onto the drawers and see how this baby turns out. So again, when you're reattaching the hardware, you wanna go nice and slow so that you don't ruin the paint or anything like that. Doesn't go crazy. Alrighty, we're all finished up. This was a really quick flip, you guys. It was like 3.5 hours from start to finish, so cannot go wrong with quick flips. I love how it turned out as well. It's something different that I've never really done before. So since this has a farmhouse distressed look, I'm gonna kind of stage it as a farmhouse piece. So I've got this picture that I stole out of my parents' room. Don't tell them. Just kidding, they already know. And then I'll put a few other farmhousey things and then we'll take photos and list it on Facebook Marketplace. You guys have probably noticed I reuse the things that I stage with. There's nothing wrong with doing that because by the time I have one piece sold, then I can post the next one and nobody's really ever gonna notice. And even if they did, oh well. Simple staging also is great. Again, I'm not the best at staging. There are people who are so much better than me. I'm still continuing to get better at it. Even Neiman is a little bit better than I am because he has that eye for photos and things, but it's time to take some pictures. Again, I always try to take those 10 photos that Marketplace allows you. That way you can utilize all of the space because people love to see photos. Just imagine, what do you want to see on a Facebook listing? Do you want to see only one big picture? Do you want to see it staged and not staged? Personally, that's what I like to do for my buyers. So I'll be taking all this off and doing some unstaged photos as well. I get a lot of questions about pricing and how I am able to get such high prices for my items, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the quality of your posts that you use or that you post on there. And so photos matter. The better your photos with the better staging and lighting and all of the things, that's going to allow you to get a little bit of a higher price because you're appealing to more people. And when they see that, it just is like, wow, that's really awesome. Like, yeah, I would definitely pay that. So again, every market is different, but continue to test out your markets. Don't get frustrated. I know it's really hard. It's hard to be patient, but allow your photos and your posts to reflect the work and the time that you put into each piece. So I am going to go and post those photos on Facebook Marketplace. Recently, I sold a very similar dresser for $425. So I am going to try listing this at that same $425. So I'm going to go do that. But wait, have you guys heard that we are actually selling our first time limited edition See You on the Flip Side shirts? The link is down in the description. We will only be selling these for a limited time, so be sure to get yours right now down below. Head to the description box and head over to our website. We would love for you guys to order one. So let's go get this posted. So we got this guy listed on Facebook Marketplace just a couple of days ago at that $425 mark, but it hasn't sold yet. Again, you have to be patient. Some things take longer than 2 days to sell. So we're gonna leave this listed on there. In a few days, I'll lower the price. But other than that, be sure to head over to Instagram and follow at Furniture Flipping Teacher because we will definitely be sure to update you on when this guy sells and for how much, including the profit, the costs, and all of that. Get subscribed down below so that you can continue to follow along on our journey of paying off my student loan debt. We are releasing videos Mondays and Thursdays, and we would love to have you there. And I'll see you on the flip side.